There's a friend calling me. He's American. Hey, buddy. I'm doing a YouTube video channel recording. So you're live on YouTube right now. What's up?
Hey, Ben, this is not the best time for us to speak. Call me when you're finished.
Okay. I'm from New York. I've lived in New York for 23 years. Lived on Long Island. And I used to travel to the city quite often. But what are your reasons for wanting to check out Russia? Moscow, you can find whatever it is that you're into. I promise you. For the most part, girls are very educated here. And I'd say more educated than American girls. I think Tinder actually works better here than it does in the States.
What type of jobs can Americans, someone who's in the US who wants to move to Russia and, want to get a life here, what job can you advise him as an American? They claim they saw this marijuana in her. So do you have travel with the marijuana in your bag in Russia? No.
Don't date girls from Moscow. From Moscow.
What has changed to you as a foreigner living in terms of your input and output?
Nothing. We had over 20,000 Americans living in Moscow. I actually thought about leaving so much that I actually was able to convince my wife that we should go to Latvia, where her family is.
Yeah, then why is he not arrested? Why am I not arrested? Don't say because we are not stars, right? If I have cocaine, I'll be arrested. Hello everybody, welcome to another series of driving with Dukan. I did a video here. The last time we did it was 6 months ago, and most of you asked, you loved it. We did it with Natasha. Here Russia, but she's changed her channel name. I did it with also, but today we are with a special girl in America. You know Russian has been sanctioned, and we are with a guy who knows Russian really well. Your favorite American in the channel, and his name is
Steve. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Dukan. It's like super cool to be here. We're just gonna have a good time, a good chat, and yeah, let's get the ball rolling, man.
Yeah, guys, you know what happened in Russia some couple of months ago? It changed the life of everybody. So I think many of my American subscribers, like Westerners, right? You guys are more interested to know how is life for someone with this mentality. So I'm lucky to get Steph around, and Steph will help you out. You guys explain. You know, he knows the community very well. So let's just jump into it. Steph.
Was
24th.
Yeah.
Because,
I think it was a Thursday. I think it was a Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I was going to work.
Yeah.
And I take the wonderful MSK, which is this beautiful German train, super quiet, super nice. Anyway, I'm going to work. Like 98% of humans on this planet that have a phone, you're stuck in social media, right? And I was on Instagram, and it just popped up like current news: Russia invades Ukraine, and I was like, what? And I was in shock. I was in because once now you know when you want a new car, like you automatically start seeing that car everywhere, right? So when I saw that first news, I was seeing news all over the place, whether it was my email or like in New York Times, which I subscribe to on my app. I just started seeing it everywhere. I was confused. I didn't know why they were doing this. Yeah, I was just in shock for the first day.
Everybody, most people were panicking, and that's not breaking news. But what did you ever thought of leaving the country? Because I'll tell you guys why. Because my kids study in an American school, sure. And you are acquainted with this, and they lost most of the American teachers. And I just wanted to know, did you think of leaving Russia?
Yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. I'll be honest. I didn't think of leaving immediately. Like I said, I was in shock, and I didn't know. I thought it was false. I was like, this is a false flag. This isn't really happening. They've got their facts wrong. Why would Russia do this? I just did a 2-day seminar where we had something like 25 or 30 speakers, and I was one of the speakers, and we were telling people how awesome and amazing it is to live in Russia. And then like 3 weeks, no, not even, like a week later, because it was February 12th or something, and then on the 24th this stuff happens, and we're like, oh my god, we just told people come to Russia, you'll have a great time, and then all of a sudden you get hit with this news. Yeah, I did think about leaving. I actually thought about leaving so much that I actually was able to convince my wife that we should go to Latvia, where her family is. We packed our stuff up, and in March we left. And unfortunately, we were only there
I
for
remember
two
chatting with
weeks.
you're in
Yeah,
Latvia, right? Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was there for 2 weeks. I was trying to get a job somewhere, anywhere, whether it was in Latvia or Germany or something.
Okay.
Couldn't make something happen, so we were forced to come
Return.
back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He has Steph has one of the most famous videos on the channel, and there are a lot of comments there. I know some guys who really love him. If you want to contact Steph, his email or his Instagram will be below, and guys, he will have a lot to tell you guys. I just want to ask something. So in regards to Americans living in Russia, I guess you're a very vibrant person, flexible with others. How did the community respond to that? What do you guys have, something like a diaspora of Americans living in Russia, in Moscow here, or
We did.
you just said we did, which
We
means it's
did.
no more. It's like
It was a mass exodus. It was
wow.
Yeah. I would say it happened in parts, but I heard when I came almost 10 years ago in 2012.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I heard rumors that we had over 20,000 Americans living in Moscow.
In Moscow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and over 35,000 in Russia or 40,000 in Russia. all
Yeah,
over.
I had 50,000.
You
in
heard
Russia.
50,000.
In
Okay,
Russia.
I might have understated
Yeah.
that. I was wanting to probably go a little higher, but anyway. Yeah, so we had 2014, we had a little crisis, a little financial crisis.
Yeah.
Some people left. Then we had 2018, we had another little financial crisis. More people left. Then we had COVID. Lots of people found ways out during that time.
Yeah.
And then whoever was left pretty much left after the 24th of February.
Okay, so let's go personal a bit. So what has changed in you as an individual in terms of since when all this started? We know that prices are up in Russia. There's a little bit of panic here, even if the Russian people are resilient. We all know that. But what has changed to you as a foreigner living in terms of your input and output?
Nothing.
Nothing. Your haircut is still the same. The smile is there.
That's the short answer.
Yeah.
When I look at it, I'm spending more money. I'm making more money. You know, I almost feel like the reverse is happening. A lot of people in America were like, praising Donald Trump because, like, for example, my father, he was making more money after Trump became president, and of course he spends more, but he lives a happier life. And then when they changed presidents, things went downhill. I don't know if I can say, like, thank you, Putin, or thank you to the Russian government, but the things that have changed for me after the 24th was obviously IKEA left. IKEA was a big one. My wife and I, we just got a new apartment. We bought an apartment. If you want to know more about that too, you can contact me about buying property and things like that. But we were buying things for the apartment, and then after IKEA left, you anything you want really for your apartment that is kind of good quality and not so expensive, you go to IKEA. And then you've got Reebok and Nike and all the clothing stores. They all leave, and all the high-end fashion, which I can't afford anyway.
This basketballer, this female basketballer, Brittany Griner, right? That was arrested, and I had some fans in the channel who asked me, is it safe for an American to come to Russia with all these stories? And I'm going to tell what I think about it, but just tell me, as an American, after this story, did it create that panic in the society, or?
Well, I think that the best answer is for you guys to make sure you are liking this video, clicking that bell, subscribing, getting those notifications. And now back to the answer.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Here's the short answer. It is perfectly safe to come to Russia. I'm not saying that as a representative of Russia at all. This is my personal opinion. I know I've heard stories of people having their phones confiscated, and they're taking their IMEI numbers and looking through their contacts, looking what, social media stuff. Unfortunately, in this world, we, and the current situation that we're living in, we have to guard ourselves, regardless of our own personal thoughts, desires, opinions. You have to understand, and at the very least, you have to respect the country in which you are going to, right? It doesn't, if you don't like the politics, or you don't like something about a certain place, I would urge you to rethink your decision. Does your inquiry, does your intrigue of Russia supersede that of your personal values or beliefs? If it does, welcome. Come on over. I think what you're going to find is that, just like your own country, people are not their government. Clickbait is like, you know, people are like, Russia deserves it, you know, like all the people that live in Russia deserve what's coming to them. You know, I hear a lot of this rhetoric in the social media world, and it's like, you know, by you living there, you accept all these things that are coming to you in the country and all these. Yeah, okay, sure, I accept it. Absolutely. But, you know, I'd also urge those very same people to, you know, I'm not a very religious guy, but I was raised religious. I would say, you know, he who has not sinned cast the first stone.
So I was talking about Greener to my subscribers, telling them that if you are coming to Russia, all you need to do is just respect the rules. There are certain rules in every society. There are certain laws that makes that society being what they are, and it's the simple thing is for you just to respect that, and you'll be fine. I mean, there is a reason why she was stopped in I don't know if it's correct or wrong, right or wrong, but I mean, they claim they saw this marijuana in her. So do you have to travel with a marijuana in your bag in Russia? No. So she break the rules.
Right.
If you, why is he not arrested? Why am I not arrested? I mean, so
exactly.
you shouldn't. It's not. Don't say because we are not stars, right? If I have cocaine, I'll be arrested. So you know what? Let's grab a coffee, okay?
Oh,
fine. And guys, if you want to sponsor me on my coffee, drop me a penny for coffee. It's up to you. So what type of jobs can Americans, someone who's in the US who wants to move to Russia and I mean want to get a life here, what job can you advise him as an American? What can he do?
Yeah, it's like a top question, really. So of course the most obvious is that you can teach English, right? But in order to do that, just make sure that you at least have some certifications. You don't have to have a 4-year degree in teaching, but you should get what's called either a TESOL or a TOEFL or a CELTA, and have some experience with you. Another type of job that you can have is probably something in real estate. You know, there are still lots of foreigners here that, you know, would be happy to work with a fluent speaker to help accommodate them, find an apartment, whether that's renting or buying, you know, buying property, building a home outside of Moscow or anywhere else in Russia. And honestly, okay, for example, I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, and since so many people have left, if you're looking at making good money, that might be an option for you to come and live here in Moscow specifically. I can't speak for Russia as a whole, but you would become a commodity right now, right? Because everybody else, quote unquote, has left. Another job is, you know, I would say it's like analytics, but unfortunately we have, you know, things like Boston Consulting Group or KPMG or Deloitte, which have all left Russia. But there are these analytical jobs that you can find within places like mail.ru or Yandex that would be possible for you to work in. Yandex, of course, is kind of the Russian Google, and Mail is kind of like just the Yahoo, I guess maybe you might want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, aside from those, I will tell you an obscure job that you could have is if you're a handyman. There are, because in the real estate world there are so many buildings popping up left and right all over, people need their homes remodeled. They need them built. When you buy an apartment today, brand new, you're usually buying it naked, which means there's nothing in there except for the support beams and the main hookups for the water and electricity, and that's it. That's it. you build everything out custom to what you want. So you have the remodeling. So if you're a handyman, it's a great job. It'll take you a couple months, learn a little bit of the language, but go to your hardware stores and start learning what are similar products, what's good products, bad products, all stuff like that. And in addition to that, so maybe for the females or any artistic minded people, is creating plans, right? So if you're kind of like a graphic designer, you might think about learning some programs that like CAD or something, where you can build out people's homes, like an interior designer type thing. They need plans to figure out what they want to do, what they want to create. And, you know, there's always, if you do have some money to invest, you can start doing franchises. You know, you can start trying to understand and getting educated on what are some franchises you can buy into that can provide some sustainable income. So those are my tips.
Fantastic. I think the franchise issue, it's more compelling, kind of labor intensive.
It is. Yeah. It is. And you know, I've never done it. I think other people might be a little more intelligent with that, but I don't think it's something that's out of the realm of anyone that's motivated and has the prerequisite skills, I'd say. You know, if this is something that you've been into, right, then you're going to become familiar with the right questions to ask and whatnot. I wouldn't say if you're an English teacher and you want to do a franchise, hey, go start it up. But
let's go to a question where every male will ask about Russian. Yep. Let's talk about Russian girls. Okay. I know you. Okay. I mean, you're loaded. You're already in the sense that he's a busy man and I'm a busy man. You know. And
let's get to some real questions.
Yeah, real questions. Yeah. So tell me about Russian girls. What advice would you give? Because you know, most of the Russian audience, you know, we have some Russian female bloggers here, and they're like, sure, wow, they are just into the beauty of a Russian woman. Absolutely. Without understanding what is in their mind. So tell me your opinion about Russian lady. I remember I mean, in your previous video, you talked about the the girl with the plastic boobs, and loads of people, loads of the fans were so interested. So what's your experience? What can you advise our viewers about the Russian girl today? I mean,
hard truth, it's not 100% foolproof, but don't date girls from Moscow. From Moscow, okay?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
I couldn't, you know, look, there's always going to be the diamond in the rough. There's always going to be the exception to the rule. Yeah. But, you know, you can find girls from all over Russia that are living and working here in Moscow. That's different. So I think you guys are pretty smart. You know what I'm talking about. Girls here, so we're speaking in generalities here, are a little bit different than what I would say you'd expect from an American girl. Example, I would go to a club and I could basically just go up to a girl and just start dancing with her. And I'd say 7 or 8 out of 10, they're going to reciprocate. You are a dominant male, and in the mind of the Russian girl, whether they really want that or not, they have been more or less preconditioned to, they will be receptive to your maleness, to your kind of dominance of, I am interested in you, without really saying much of anything. You just present yourself, you're dancing. Please be a good dancer, don't step on the toes. I've done that a couple times, it doesn't work.
Don't mess up.
Don't step on toes.
Yeah.
It's not so much like, let me buy you a drink and then they fall into your arms. No, usually if girls are like actually requesting the drink, there's an ulterior motive. They're just wanting free drinks and that's the end of it. Dating girls in Moscow. Yeah, it's totally possible. I mean, look, I missed the Tinder boat, but Tinder is really viable here. I think Tinder actually works better here than it does in the States. You could have a date every day if you want.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, girls are very receptive. And another thing is, don't be fooled. I think for the most part, girls are very educated here. And I'd say more educated than American girls. Yeah. And I'll tell you, they are very cultured. Their culture is about culture and they learn it. Girls can recite Chekhov or Dostoevsky to you. They want to go to museums. They want to go to, you know, what do we call them?
Kinotheatre.
Well, just kinotheatre, but not just galleries. Galleries. Yeah. So
want to walk to the park.
Walk to the park.
Yeah.
And they want to have conversation. They want to have big conversations. Something similar to both American girls and Russian girls. You might find a girl that just she doesn't eat, right? So if you take them out to dinner or something, they might be very self-conscious about what they're eating.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if they sit there and don't eat anything. You know, they're very feminine, and it's not to say that American women aren't feminine, but it's a very maybe dainty feminine quality. But when you get to know people in the beginning, they could be kind of a little off-putting. They could be a little cold, a little rough around the edges. I call Russians Northern Italians. That's what I say. I say they are kind of extreme, very hot, very cold, very vibrant. They are the Italian equivalent if you just threw them north.
I did a video here about things to do if you want to have a Russian girl, if you want to impress a Russian girl. And there was this funny comment from an American guy who said you need to buy her Victoria's Secret. Take her to Victoria's Secret, and she will be yours. As Steph just said, the Moscow, there is Russia and there's Moscow. The Moscow girl is highly educated, and 70% of them earn some kind of cash, which means they are not that poor.
Right.
Yeah, so you wouldn't really, while you might impress them if you're really wealthy with cash, but that would not be a primary situation.
No, they've already got it.
Yeah,
they've already got the money.
So that's Moscow we're talking, and that was a good advice about about not sticking with Moscow girls, especially for a serious relationship.
Yeah,
because they see themselves like very privileged, just like most big cities. So it's not a crime.
It can be difficult. I'm not saying it can't happen, but
yeah, it could
you might run into some challenges.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the whole idea that the Russian woman is out for you because of your cash, it's wrong. It's wrong. As you said, I mean, there's always some exceptions in the rules, but we're talking about serious relationship here. They will approach men because they see somehow some future with them, because this is important for them. This is in the case of a serious relationship. For fun, I think you can do anything. You can go what you want.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and if we're talking about fun and we're talking about girls, I gotta tell you, look, Moscow, you can find whatever it is that you're into.
Yeah.
I promise you.
And you don't even need to spend anything.
It's available. There's a book that I read years ago. It's by Bulgakov. It's called Master Margarita.
Yeah.
Very famous. So basically, it's about the devil coming to Moscow. I would say that there's a level of hedonism in Moscow. There's a level of like kind of this gratification. I don't want to say a negative gratification, but yeah, it's more materialistic. It's more kind of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah,
as I put it. You know, you can find that here.
You know, Moscow is such a massive city. If you have to add the regional cities attached to Moscow, we're talking about 20 million. It's a very massive city.
Absolutely.
Many people don't understand that. It is said in a very busy day, close to 15 million people use the underground.
50 million.
15.
Oh, 15.
Million use the underground. 50 million would be wow. Yeah. We're not in China yet. 15 million. Yeah. These are real statistics. Yeah. That was 5 years ago.
Are they counting me twice every time I come in and out?
I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works, but that's the statistics from professionals. And you have over 10 million cars registered in Moscow. So you just see how massive the city is. I mean, just for perspective.
You know. That's actually, you know what? I'll give you a little taste of like when I first came to Moscow. People say, "Hey, what's the first thing you noticed when you came to Moscow?" And for me, I mean, I'm from New York. I've lived in New York for 23 years. Lived on Long Island, and I used to travel to the city quite often. But what didn't really impress me, but what shocked me, was the amount of buildings, the amount of homes, the amount of apartments. It was just apartments after apartments. I mean, it took us from the airport, it took us like 2 hours, maybe a little more than 2 hours, because traffic was crazy. Traffic is about as equal as Los Angeles traffic.
That was back in the days, right?
It's insane, man.
But I think it's getting better now.
Yeah, which is funny because the mayor, Sobyanin, has started implementing these like walking streets and making streets smaller and forcing a lot of cars to really, or people that drive the cars, to make a choice of where do you drive in Moscow? Where do you leave your car? Do you take transport?
Yeah, giving that option.
They're making the parking more expensive.
In order to reduce, most big cities like in Geneva, it's crazy. In Cannes, in the south of France, don't just go there with a car. I've done that several times. Yeah, and the parking is crazy. So guys, what do you think about the video? Do you have something to say to the guys?
You know, I just, I'm very happy to be a part of this journey with all of you. I want to thank Duncan for having a really great time today. If you guys like something, you know, again, hit the like, bell, subscribe, leave your comments below. Let us know, especially a question for me to you is, what are your reasons for wanting to check out Russia? And, you know, what are you hoping to accomplish? What is it that you want to see? What have you heard about? Give us the good, the bad, the indifferent. Want to hear about them.
So guys, as Steph just said, by the way, Ralph, not Duncan, but anyway.
So,
yeah.
I can do it again.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. No, I love it when it's just natural.
Drive
Yeah.
with Duncan.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, if you did like the video, give that like button as said, and if you have something to add here or something he said which you want to add and help the community, do it. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.